When you are enlightened and experience yourself as a 5D being, you're going to know something, and that is, I'm a time traveler. You're going to know that about yourself because you will be able to access versions of you that exist in the future and the past as easily as you can connect with this version of you that you are right now. Ooh, baby, today's conversation, there's so much that's got to come into it, but my battery's about to die, and I want to film this before my battery dies. So yeah, let's see how far I can get. We're talking time traveling today. We're talking timeline jumping today, which sounds very intriguing, doesn't it? Timeline jumping, that's nothing more than shifting your reality. To shift your timeline is to shift your reality, is to jump timelines. But let's clear up some misconceptions. When I say to you timeline jumping, I know that sounds, and you're going to imagine yourself in a movie now. You're going to imagine, oh, there's a stream of time and I'm going to jump into it and everything's going to be different. And maybe in this stream of time, I'm rich or poor or enlightened or a doctor or a lawyer or a dentist or something so foreign from the stream of consciousness that I was swimming in just moments ago. And then you can imagine yourself doing this multiple times. Now, the glory of doing that would be that you would be doing it consciously, which means that you would be able to consciously see the contrast between timelines. You do this all the time. But what happens when you do this is you step into that stream and you step into the memory of that stream as if no other memory existed, wiping out all resonance and recollection of all the other timelines. So you're stepping into memory, which makes it appear that the timeline that you're on is solid and consistent and stable and has always been, but actually you've just shifted frequency and are now in a version of you playing in a stream of time that is perhaps the Doctor. And, it's a very almost trivial example to give you, but let's just do it like that because this way is going to allow you to see the different realities, a doctor, a lawyer, a dentist. I'm just using that as examples, right? Just examples to show you how very different realities can be and that there are different yous in those realities. But as you step into them, you're stepping into memory, and memory is a habit of the past. It's a conditioning. And it's memory that creates your future, not you. Until you step into the now, you will always be creating your tomorrow from the memory of who you are, who you know yourself to be, in other words, the past. And something happens, we've got a conditioning in the brain whereby the brain keeps us locked. And this is conditioning of the false matrix. It keeps us locked in the past because what the brain is conditioned to do is to narrate. So you think, for example, let's just say you look in the mirror and you go, okay, look in the mirror, there's this little lag, there's this little, even if it's a few split seconds, there's a little lag, and then the narrator kicks in. And the narrator is going to say, oh, these jeans make me look fat, oh, this doesn't look good, or this does look good, or whatever it is, whatever the narration is, you are almost constantly narrating the past. But because that lag is so small, you think, oh, well, this is the now. You think, well, this is me looking in the mirror, chatting about my appearance. You're under the impression that you live in the now when you always live facing the past. You're orientated to the past, commenting on the past, living in the reflection of the past. Until you bring yourself into the now, you will always be in the past. And when you bring yourself into the now, I want you to imagine it like this. I spoke about streams earlier, streams of consciousness. We can think about them as really just different realities. Timeline jumping is simply you shifting frequency. And the truth of it is even more spectacular, and that is you're not jumping anywhere, actually. What you're doing instead is collapsing all other potentials and experiencing one specific one. And what causes that collapse is your consciousness. So where your consciousness is determines what you open your eyes and see, including the time that you open your eyes and see. So in other words, it's conceivable, the potential exists, that you could wake up 100 years in the future or the past. You wouldn't necessarily know it, because Your memory would tell you, I've always been here. This is nothing abnormal. See, memory is the thing that keeps sanity. And it's when memory starts to become unhinged and untethered from that stream that then people say, whoa, I'm feeling a little bit weird. And people also say, am I awakening? Is this a spiritual awakening, or am I going mad? Am I losing my mind? Is there an insanity that's happening? Sometimes all that it is you're losing what it is to be dictated to by your memory. You're losing the jurisdiction that the narrator of the mind once had on you, and you're becoming free. And you're no longer becoming answerable to the memory of the past, but rather into the only place you were ever meant to be, and that is the now. I want you to think of life like this. Think of your life as a jailbreak. Because the false matrix is a prison, one that you become obedient to and answerable to when you live in it for long enough. And we've lived many lifetimes in the prison of the false matrix. We've come here to break ourselves out of the prison of the false matrix by bringing consciousness into the false matrix itself, melting the walls of the false matrix until we can find ourselves in the now. The false matrix, I've also referred to it many times as the time matrix, because that's what happens in the false matrix. We become glued to one specific time. When you are enlightened and experience yourself as a 5D being, you're going to know something, and that is, I'm a time traveler. You're going to know that about yourself because you will be able to access versions of you that exist in the future and the past as easily as you can connect with this version of you that you are right now, because they all exist and you'll have access to all of them. And the beautiful thing about having access to those future self memories, or higher self, because isn't that really what your higher self is? Your higher self is a future self. It's who you become in time. So when you start gaining access beyond the limitation of time, you're in a sense moving beyond the jail, beyond the prison. You're prison breaking. You're moving out of the false matrix. And the very interesting thing about the false matrix is that it doesn't exist anymore, except in people's memory. And remember what I said moments back about memory. Memory creates the reality of the future, and the reality that you're in is determined by the memory of your past. So the memory of the false matrix is something that people keep picking up almost every day, despite the fact that the false matrix has already collapsed. So imagine the visual. You're standing in the rubble of the false matrix. Most people stand there in the rubble of the false matrix, but it feels so scary and out of control that what they do is they start picking up all the rubble, all the debris on the floor, building an old house, because that's what they know. That's what they're familiar with. So they start recreating the walls. They start recreating their own prison, because very often being in the freedom where they're not attached to the story, the memory of who they were, is too much freedom, that it feels panicky, that they feel out of control, that they need the safety, but it's not safety at all, of the known. This is where a lot of people find themselves. It's one of the great conundrums of the jailbreak that we're in right now. It's very important for you to take the information that I'm giving you and use it for what it's intended to, which is merely an expansion of consciousness. Wow, that's it. It's a wow moment. Wow, who else am I? What else am I capable of? And to feel a little flash of excitement that comes with that. What else are you capable of? Remember I said earlier, timelines, we're not actually jumping. I love the visual, right? I love the idea that your body is jumping into different timelines. It's not. Your body stays still. You bring these streams of consciousness. You bring these timelines to you. And just to be very, very clear about timelines, because I've released a couple of videos about timelines fairly recently, just to be really clear, all timelines are already collapsed into one, but the one timeline that we're on is able to hold so many different frequencies. So when I'm talking about a timeline, What I'm really saying to you is a reality within, or a frequency within, one overriding timeline. And the one overriding timeline that we're on is headed into ascension. There will be those that take an exit. There will be those that when it's time for them to leave this life, either at the ascension point or before, if they've chosen that ascension is not their path, that 5D is not what they're quite ready for yet, then they move off into 4D, they move off into another experience, which is going to be another ascension cycle, which is likely to be many thousands of years long. It's not a punishment. When you're an infinite being, thousands of years, this is like me saying, hey, let's go have a cup of coffee. You're not going to go, oh God, 15 minutes of sitting down and having coffee. No, you're going to go, yay, let's go have a coffee. That sounds fantastic. If you drink coffee, and likewise for the soul being, let's go play. Let's go have another jaunt at the ascension window. Let's just do it from outside the confines of the false matrix this time and feel what that feels like. So those people that veer off into the alternate path, remember, one timeline, multiple realities, that's where we are right now. So we are not technically timeline jumping, we are reality shifting. That's the more accurate way to say it. But within the timeline that we're on right now, we have these two paths, these two potentials. One goes to 5D ascension, one goes into a 4D new reality, wherein you're going to get new bodies, new names, just like you did at the beginning of this life. At the onset of this life, you didn't bring in the memory of where you had been. You came in, I want to say fresh and new, but you probably came in like most of us did, old, haggard, and tired from having repeated this so many times. Those veering off into the 4D path are going to be veering off into a new, refreshing experience of reality. Like I said earlier, it's one outside the confines of the false matrix. So that's collapsed. The false matrix, the time matrix, isn't your boss anymore. But it's almost a Stockholm, like a global Stockholm syndrome, where people become dependent on, enslaved to, obedient to the misery. We did this amazing call in my online community. It's call number 119. I think it's 119 on the misery program. And that conversation was so amazing about how we have all been programmed into and obedient to misery, and even derived a sense of self-worth based on suffering and struggle and punishment. We're breaking free from all of that stuff. I can't remember if it was called 118 or 119. So if you're in my online community, go and look in the Plasma Live Call library. Go find that call. It was absolutely life-changing. We followed that up with calls about addiction, about getting out of your own way, how the ego is this boulder that stands in front of you, and you've got to get out of your own way to allow higher consciousness to come through you. There's so much powerful work that's coming in because there's so much high frequency that's coming in at the moment. And that's why I'm doing this conversation with you, because it opens you up to that remembrance of who you are, and to remind you that as you shift realities, you are collapsing all other potentials and bringing your consciousness into this one. But you can go a step beyond that. You can go into mastery now, where you actually bring yourself into the now. My favorite meditation is the deep relaxation. You guys know that. I mention it in so many calls. It might not be your favorite. You might have another one. I know a lot of people love the future self meditations that I do. I love the deep relaxation because it teaches you to get out of the constructs that the mind keeps creating. It teaches you to get out of the narrator. And in that deep relaxation trilogy, for those of you who are interested in it, I will leave a link to it in the video description box below. For those of you who've done the deep relaxation, you'll know what it does. It transports you to a place where the mind is not in control. And then you're a hop, skip, and a jump away from that timeless now, which is a field. And I'm inviting you through this conversation into that field of resonance and of remembrance of who you are when time doesn't tell you who to be. In other words, when your memory doesn't dictate who you are, then you're free to be who you are. And that it's not like you've lost the memory, it's more like you've gained all the memories of all the pasts and all the futures and realized, oh wow, I'm none of them. In fact, I am this totality. I am this allness. And when you can begin to identify yourself with the allness that you are and bring that into this body, you remember, wow, I don't have to escape. I don't have to physically go anywhere. I only have to collapse all of that potential into the now and bring all of my higher consciousness into the now. That's the point in which you experience yourself as free. And many of you will have to practice that over and over again because the memory is so embedded. The memory of pain, of past, of ego, of the story of who you were. Obviously, there's parts of this conversation where you're going to feel your mind fritzing because it's very difficult to make a non-linear understanding linear. It's pretty much impossible. And the brain is so conditioned to doing that. The brain always wants things to be in sequence, to be predictable, to be understandable. But that's not the nature of reality. Those are what memories do, but it's not what reality does. Reality, if you took memory away, reality would be so interesting because here you're the doctor, then you're the lawyer, then you're the pharmacist, then you're the farmer. Who knows? Who knows what different potentials you are? Freedom is on the other side of the prison of time. And so are you. Lots of love, everyone. Bye-bye for now.